Hi guys, it's George here from Esports News UK at i63, and I'm here with Jeff from Barrage Esports.
Hello.
Jeff, how did you get started with your organisation?
So I actually bought Barrage. So I was running another organisation called Cognate, which was I started myself, founded, and it was hard to get traction, to be fair, in the beginning, especially when you haven't done esports management before. It's quite difficult. So I bought Barrage, which already had a bit of history and a bit more following and people already involved with it, and kind of grew it from there really. I was a Rainbow Six Siege player, and we had an excellent Xbox team that I played on, if I do say so myself, and then a PC team that was in the Pro League as well. So between those two, that's kind of how I got started really in Rainbow Six.
So would you say you had a lot of experience going into managing and running Barrage? Or
No, not really. I think I'd had a bit of management of people experience, like from other stuff, outside of esports, but no esports management experience. And even now, there's loads of stuff that I don't know that I learn all the time. So.
Yeah, and do you think that's a common problem for other similar organisations across the country?
Yeah, 100%. And I think there's a lot of younger management, which we were discussing before, and some of them are very, very good, like Nathan from Radiant, and some of the other ones. However, there is a lot that they are essentially just teenagers, and unfortunately they don't know what they're doing. They haven't got the life experience outside of esports to maybe translate. So yeah, I think, I don't know.
Yeah. And for UK esports on the whole, would you agree that it's really important for people like yourself to kind of show that little bit of the behind the scenes work so that people understand what they're getting into?
Yeah, I think a lot of the UK orgs can be quite closed as well. Like, they're not willing to chat to one another and share best practices or whatever. But I think that's kind of what you've got to do if you want the whole scene to grow a little bit, and especially in the UK, we're quite behind in comparison to the US and what have you. So I think that we've got to kind of all get together and get our heads together and make sure that the leagues are the most competitive. Players are sticking with the teams; they're not making so much drama. So I think that's kind of on all of us, and I'm always willing to chat to people and help people. And likewise, there is some people that I will go to for advice, like Kieran from Excel. I discuss stuff with him and with Phil from Enclave, various different people. So it's good to chat.
Yeah. So it's kind of about establishing, say, like industry standards, that kind of stuff. And,
yeah.
Like you said, best practice and communication for moving forward.
Yeah, and I think that even applies further up the chain. There is still no player representation. There's still no governing body for any of the esports really. I guess the publishers for each game try to manage it a little bit, but everybody's got such different rulings, and then say a publisher has 10 different providers of tournaments, and they all have different rules, so it's just very complicated. I think that's the way that I think the orgs need to really do it themselves and make sure that they set the guidelines really, and then we'll build it up from there.
Yeah, so it's about like putting in place the infrastructure for the future of tournaments and events like Insomnia and stuff like that, and kind of making it common knowledge for people coming into it.
Yeah, 100%.
So with that in mind, what do you think UK esports and organisations, what do you think that'll look like in 5-10 years time?
I don't know, I'm hoping that the UK scene starts to see some more investment in there's the top level orgs in the UK, which are obviously like Fnatic and Excel, are very much up there. Vexed, now their CSGO team, they've just got a facility and stuff. They're obviously like the top teams, I would argue, in the UK at the moment. And then below that, you've got so many teams like in this bit just below, which I would include ourselves in, the likes of pretty much if you look at the Forge of Champions, a lot of the orgs that are in that, they're probably in that bubble there, and it's just about getting those orgs up to the same level so that there is more representation for the UK really, and then hopefully we'll see more traction from there.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it'll look like in 5-10 years time. It depends whether the UK sees more investment, and I don't know whether it will at the minute. So yeah.
Bit uncertain there.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah, so you talk about kind of that bubble of smaller orgs. What do you think it would take to break through, including investment, I suppose, into that next tier?
I think it's difficult because for a lot of orgs it's a vicious circle. So if you haven't got the capital to begin with, then you can't afford the better teams or the better players or whatever. And because you haven't got them, sponsors don't want to work with you, so you can't get revenue coming in, and it's just this vicious circle. So I mean, I've spoke previously, I wrote an article for Esports News UK saying if you're looking to get into esports and start an org, don't do it, essentially, because unless you've got at least 20, 30, 40, 50 grand to get started, it's really, you're not going to do anything. It's really difficult, and that's coming from us who Barrage, have been founded since 2014, so we're 4 years old now, and I still feel like at times that we're barely scratching the surface. I don't think anybody's earning any money from UK esports, so it's difficult.
So as a Barrage, what are you looking forward to immediately in the future for yourself and your teams?
I think Forge of Champions has been brilliant with League of Legends. I think we've kind of proved that we can keep up even with the limited budget that we've had. If you look at us compared with a number of the salaried teams, we've all finished in the same place. We've still made playoffs. So I'm looking forward to 2019 when League comes back around and Riot and LVP's plans for that, because they're going to be exciting. I honestly don't know. I'd like to say, we're actively looking for investment, which if you follow me on social media, you'll know that I'm always tweeting about it or whatever. Hopefully we can work with some new sponsors as well, because I think the content that we do is brilliant. I tweeted recently about last year we spoke to some condom companies about sponsorship, and recently about a week ago, Unicorns of Love announced a sponsorship with a condom company. And I think the potential for content there is just brilliant. And obviously there's been rulings before where, is it YouPorn? They tried to work with a team and nobody allowed it, but I think there's a difference between, the porn and safe sex. Yeah. So I think that's brilliant. So hopefully we can get some interesting partnerships and make some interesting content. So I think any non-endemics coming into it, I think there's some really good ideas that we could have. That'd be good.
Yeah, no, it kind of brings in people who, like sponsors who might not know the scene. Yeah. And it gets them involved and brings that investment that you're talking about, those big brands in. So yeah, if we want to keep up to date with Barrage and all their brilliant content and stuff coming up, where can we follow you?
So on Twitter it's just Barrage, nice and simple. And then most of our other channels, so Twitch and YouTube, are Barrage POV, and then barrageesports.com. So those are probably the main ones.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for speaking to us today. Cheers.
Thank you.